It's been a while since we had a cup of tea on YouTube in our Tortured Poets mugs.
We're in the middle of summer here and it's still not too hot for a cup of tea.
Oh no, never. The tea is needed.
Because the tea is needed for the soul.
It's for the soul. It's for the soul, it's for the comfort, it's for the nourishment, it's for the relaxation, it's for the de-stressing, it's for the nervous system.
It's not for like a drink.
Oh no.
It's not for hydration.
No, oh no. Speaking of, definitely need some water.
Oh, I wish I had more energy today. I am ill and I just need you to know that I'm so excited to talk about this song. But if my energy is lacking, just know it's not personal.
You're going to get through it. You're going to get through it. The vibes of this song are going to pull you through and keep you enthusiastic because we have truly saved one of the best to last.
One of the best to last. It's such a... Guys, today we are joining you for our third last Tortured Poets breakdown.
Wow.
But Daddy, I love him.
Oh, what a good song. Gosh, this has gotta be, I'd say top 5, but we've said like 15 songs are in our top 5, so I don't know.
Yeah, this is such a classic, good song, but I'm not sure if it's making my top personal 5 at this point.
It's a hard one, isn't it?
But it is top tier songwriting.
I think what's so amazing about this song is that it really does capture the essence of like a Fearless era Taylor. Like it's got that love story, the way I love you kind of sonic build to it. It's
like
amazing.
A mature love story.
I literally can envision a younger Taylor writing this song, and that's what's amazing. It's like it makes me feel like she can so easily tap into an older version of herself, even though what she's singing about is very relevant for her current life, which I love.
Yeah, it's got the same energy behind it, but it's also got this wit and this wisdom and this smart about it that makes it really current Taylor as well. It's like that perfect blend.
Yes. This is also like one of those perfect quintessential Taylor songs that is obviously so good because it has like a third verse and a bridge and an outro and the whole thing. It's this is the longest song on Tortured Poets.
Is it the longest? It is the longest.
I think it's the longest song on Tortured Poets.
Between this and Who's Afraid of Little Old Me, I think
this
that
one
this
just
one
takes
wins.
the cake. This song is so clever. I mean, the whole thing is a metaphor, which is amazing. Like I feel like it kind of, you could relate it to like Getaway Car in that way. Like this thing is sort of strung through the whole song. What's interesting about this song is that, you know, I think that there's been some discussion about like who people think it's about and stuff, but I actually think we really need to not talk about that really for the most part with this song, because what this song is actually about is her and the expectations that people place on her.
Yeah, and her
specifically her fans, I guess.
Absolutely.
This is about her more than anything, and I think in that way, like, it doesn't matter who the boy in the situation is. The point is that this is probably something she's felt many times over.
I absolutely agree. And it's like a bit of a fight back to that, I think. It's like really Taylor just being like, fuck you, I'll date who I want to date, I'll figure it out in my own time. And I guess that's why calling it But Daddy, I Love Him is such an interesting play on those words, because that's something a young girl would say to her father when she's forbidden to date a boy that she likes. Kind of like how she felt when she wrote Love Story.
Yeah, it's another link.
But instead it's actually a comment towards the society and her fans and the media and everyone that has that input into her dating life. A normal girl might just feel that from her parents, but Taylor feels it from the entire world weighing in on her choices, and this is her fight back against that in this really beautiful sonically. It's a very beautiful song, a very smart song. The lyrics are just genius. And I think also her opening the Tortured Poets set with it on the Eras tour was
wasn't
really
obvious.
A big fuck you to the people that felt like they had the right to weigh in when, you know, she started dating Matty Healy. That was very controversial in the fandom.
So true.
And we just always looked at that and thought, what is going on?
Yeah,
like,
literally.
Where do people get on their... Where do people find the audacity?
No, literally, where do they find the audacity? I think what's so amazing is the metaphor being this, almost like a young girl being a part of a religion where the man that they've chosen sort of goes against maybe like the people around her are viewing it as sinful almost, or like
The bad girl.
The bad girl,
Yeah.
yeah. And I think that that's so fascinating because, again, linking it back to the fact that really it feels like a message to us as fans. Like, she's kind of telling us that, like, you're kind of treating me like we're in this weird cult that, like,
Yeah.
I'm not allowed to break free of.
Totally.
And I honestly think that that's kind of a valid thing for her to say. I mean, like, we'll be the first to admit that the Swiftiness of Swifties can be cult-like sometimes.
Yeah,
And we love her so desperately in that way, but some people really take it too far and do feel like they have the audacity
I think that
to
they
say what they want to say about
project
her.
what they want her to be doing
Yes.
a lot of the time with
Yes.
political stuff, with her dating life. And then when she doesn't do what they want her to do, they hate on her.
Yeah.
It's a really toxic trait that I think that fans sometimes they're not aware of. You know, instead of when Taylor does something that maybe they didn't expect, instead of kind of being like, oh, cool, okay, interesting, I'm going to like follow where this goes, I'm going to be curious about it, they immediately are like, that's not what I wanted her to do,
Yes.
so I'm angry about it.
Yeah. And it obviously is coming from a place of feeling like they know her personally. And
Yeah.
what's fascinating about the parasocial relationship between Swifties and Taylor is that I do think that Taylor has cultivated it to a large extent. We know how much she loves her fans and is so appreciative for where they've gotten her in her career and in her life. And I think it's also really linked into how she's told us many times that she didn't have a lot of friends growing up and has a lot of trauma around that. But this is a song where she's setting those boundaries. She's like,
Totally.
I love you guys. I want you to stay, but I'm allowed to have boundaries too,
Well,
and you can't be that involved in my choices.
And I think her real fans weren't the ones doing that as well.
No, that's true.
And I think she
Yes.
kind of knows that too.
I forget how the West was won. I forget if this was ever fun. I just learned these people only raise you to cage you. Sarah's and Hannah's in the Sunday best, clutching their pearls, sighing what a mess. I just learned these people try and save you, 'cause they hate you.
She kind of just goes straight into saying like what I was kind of saying, like the people that are like fans actually aren't. Some of them aren't. They actually really
Yes.
hate her.
Yes. I forget how the West was won. I forget if this was ever fun. I just learned these people only raise you to cage you.
Oh my gosh, she's saying so much here.
She's saying so much. Almost like she's saying that she's gotten to this point where she's like, I don't even know how I got here.
Yeah.
Or how like my life got so big. But I feel like on this journey of like, you know, my fandom increasing and like people having more and more and more to say about me over the years, whether it's the media or fans or whatever, it's like it's gotten to this point where I've realized that some of these people who claim to love me don't.
Yeah.
It's oppressive
It's
in a way.
oppressive, totally.
And I thought it was just love.
Yeah, I
at
forget
first.
if this was ever fun.
Yeah.
Like, it's just gotten so out of hand. And it kind of reminds me of when she said in Midnight's Era, like, that she really struggles with this idea of actually being a person.
Yes.
Like, having that autonomy. And
Yes.
people treating her like an actual individual instead of this idea or this person that they just project their beliefs onto.
Absolutely. Sorry.
It's interesting how she says how the West was won. And like, because I feel like a lot of the time she's using this olden day language throughout this song that really brings you back to like a different time.
It's almost like related to this concept of like colonization,
Yeah.
right? It's like there was war involved, there was oppression involved, and there was like a conquering involved, right? This being something that happened so long ago, that's how she's tying it into her own career. She's like, I forget how the West was won. Like, I've been in this business,
Yes.
I've been famous for so long. I
Yeah.
forget how that even happened.
that even
like,
happened, yeah.
kind of like how like today, it's the people that exist today.
So
we don't
true.
remember how the West was won. We
Yeah,
know
yeah.
about it through
Yeah.
reading history books, but we don't remember
We
that.
don't
Like, it was so long
know.
ago.
Yeah. It's got this underlying metaphor of like American history wrapped into it, which is so
Yes.
fascinating.
Yes. And it ties very well into the theme of feeling oppressed by a larger situation, whether it is colonization
Yeah.
or if it is being in a very strict religious community.
Totally.
I think either way, it's like you think there's good in it,
Yeah.
but there's actually a lot of bad in it too,
Yeah,
which
yes.
is the exploration that she's going through in this song. Sarah's and Hannah's in their Sunday best, clutching their pearls, sighing, what a mess. I just learned these people try and save you because they hate you. Feels like that first link into these religious themes, like being in your Sunday best, maybe going to church, or you know, being around people who have a moral superiority because they feel that their actions are in line with what, say, the Bible teaches or whatever, versus like what this girl's doing. She's a mess. She's, you know, making these decisions that are so ungodly and like we're so much better than her, which is obviously then something that she kind of continues on with in the pre-chorus.
It's a great example of like women that have it all, maybe like the husband and the children and the family or whatever, can be the worst critics or judges of women that are not doing what they're doing.
Yes.
It's like it threatens them immediately. And it's like Taylor maybe dating around or trying to, you know, find the right person she's going to be with in her 30s still. It's like that directly threatens their way of life and their choice, and like clutching the pearls, like everything about them is like they're on their high horse.
Yeah. And even with the way that she wraps up this verse, I just learned these people try and save you because they hate you. I think ties in really well with what you said. It's like, again, with this like sort of religious theme, you can imagine that people who are in that community, it's like, no, don't do that. We want to bring you back to God. Like, you know, like whatever. But actually there is an undertone of hatred because of the fact that you are doing something that steps outside the status quo, doing something that maybe others feel like they've never been able to explore doing because they've always been like the good girl or whatever. So there is this undertone of hatred towards these people. There's a jealousy there, but they're trying to be like, we're trying to make you this godly woman or
trying
whatever.
To save her. It's actually such a good lyric.
It's such a good lyric.
The way she says things.
Yeah. It's also in the I just learned these people only raise you to cage you.
Yeah.
So fascinating. Like if you're growing up with a certain set of like, I don't know, just like teachings throughout your life, whether it is religious or otherwise, it's like you feel like maybe the way you're being raised is like to make you a good person in your life or so that you have the tools you need to navigate this world. But then when you actually start making decisions and inevitably making mistakes, people want to box you in and say, no, you can't do anything outside of the rules you've been taught in your life.
They're raising you to follow in their footsteps, which is a box that they've already created. It actually really reminds me of Who's Afraid of Little Old Me, that lyric, like the caging themes and tearing out her teeth and stuff.
Yeah.
Which is interesting. Like the industry raised her just to cage her.
Yes.
I love the use of Sarah's and Hannah's just because it's like very typical names. She loves a name in this album.
This woman loves a name.
Honestly,
in this album.
since Folklore, she loves a name.
Yeah, that's true.
Like, God, did she even do that before Folklore?
I mean, we've got a Drew. We've got a Corey. We've got...
Which were real people in her life.
Yes.
I feel like it's almost like Folklore unlocked the ability to use other people's names in a storytelling-esque way.
Yeah.
And now she continues to use it to further that.
Yeah, they're fictional characters rather than real people. Even like Stephen in Hey Stephen, that's a real person, not like a character
now
necessarily.
They represent
something.
And I feel like she uses names to do that a lot more now, like even Chloe, Sam. Yeah, she does that. Instead of being like they, she'll actually just say Sarah's and Hannah's or whatever, and then she'll say James and Betty, you know.
And it's I think specifically with this song, it's the perfect way to kind of convey the specific narrative she's trying to tell. It's specifically Christianity and Christian denominations, and Sarah's and Hannah's these typical sort of white girls kind of thing, especially, you know, when you sort of link it back to the American West or maybe the South in America, stuff like that, which is obviously makes sense that this is what she's trying to say in this song because this is the kind of, I guess, religion she's been exposed to in her life.
Too high a horse for a simple girl to rise above it.
Oh, it's such a pretty melody. Actually, melody in this song, and the production is amazing.
Melodies.
And this was the first Aaron song on the album.
Yes, it
I'm pretty sure. And I
is.
love that it's an Aaron song. Wait,
Let's check that.
both of them? Why do I feel like this might have actually been both of them? Yes!
Oh my God, you're
Produced by
right.
Jack, Aaron, and Taylor,
It's
but
an
written
Ivy.
by Aaron and It's an Ivy.
Too high a horse for a simple girl to rise above it. She's literally just like, the standards and the expectations for me are just so high that I could simply never meet them.
Yeah, and it ties in nicely with the lyric about the Sarahs and Hannahs. Like, they're creating this expectation of who she should be.
Yeah.
And there's no way that she could live up to those expectations. But yes, then linking it back into her real life, it's like, we as her fans, the media, the tabloids, the haters, everybody puts this expectation on her and these set of standards that are impossible for anyone to reach.
Literally, she's just a simple girl.
And I love that. I love that lyric specifically because it really humanizes her.
She's like, I'm just one girl.
I'm just a girl.
And you want so much from me. And I think that this really speaks to when fans want her to be the cause for every cause that they want her to stand up for and stuff. Like, she is just one human at the end of the day. And yes, she might have a lot of influence, but it still puts herself at risk. It puts a lot of weight on her conscience, and it's a lot to ask from a person. And I don't think anyone really understands what it's like to be in that situation unless you are her.
Absolutely.
Do you think that the too high a horse is them sitting on the
Yes,
horse?
like they're
that
on their
she
high
can't
horse.
reach? Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, the Sarahs and the Hannahs
Yes.
are sitting on the high horse.
Yes.
Oh, interesting. Genius says here they think Swift is a simple girl who can't rise above. The Sarahs and Hannahs judging her relationship and calling it a mess. Instead, she feels hurt and controlled by them. That's interesting because I've always taken that more as like, yeah, those expectations are too much for Taylor to reach. But
they're saying it's like they're looking at her like she'd never be able to reach our standards kind of thing. That's interesting. I feel like I prefer the way that we've taken it. Like, she's telling us that these expectations are too high for her.
I agree.
I think that's more meaningful for me,
agree.
and I think it ties better in with the message that she's trying to spell out here.
Well, yeah, because I think it shows that she's trying to say, that you all expect too much from me, and you don't know what that feels like because you're not in my shoes.
Yes, exactly.
They slammed the door on my whole world, the one thing I wanted. I kind of take this as like the parents or the fans or the world not approving of her relationship.
Same. It feels like the first time that we get the introduction to this being a relationship theme.
Yeah.
We don't know when she wrote it, obviously, but it works really well for her dating Maddie Healy and all the negative things that people had to say about him. And I think even tying it back into the metaphor, anyone in a situation like where you are stepping outside the norms of the community that you're in, you will be rejected by them. Like, they'll slam the door on you and you are no longer allowed to be in this community. You are no longer allowed to associate with these people, or they want nothing more to do with you. And I think that ties really nicely into the way that a lot of people spoke about how they felt about her dating Maddie Healy. It was almost like, we're going to cut her off if this is the kind of man that she wants to be with, because we don't align with what he says and does.
They blamed her for his shortcomings.
Yes.
Which is just a whole another misogyny thing that we're not going to get into today.
Just a lot. That's a lot to unpack.
Running with my dress unbuttoned, screaming, but daddy, I love him. I'm having his baby. No, I'm not, but you should see your faces. I'm turning to Flora through the fences. No, I'm not coming to my senses. I know he's crazy, but he's the one I want.
Oh my god, it's such a good chorus.
I have goosebumps.
The build.
Such a good chorus. It's the feeling of it for me.
Same. Yeah.
It actually feels like you can imagine her like running through this open field, like almost like having this freedom for the first time.
But even though it does have an energy of, like we kind of said before, love story-esque, it does have this power behind it. And I love that this chorus feels really celebratory of Taylor kind of being like, fuck you, I'm gonna do what I want to do because this is me in my 30s. Like, I get to still be experimental with who I'm dating. I don't get you to tell me that that's not okay. I don't get you to weigh in on who you think's right for me. And I love how she's chosen to wrap it up in this kind of song. Like, she could have done a real bad bitch song with it, but instead it feels like she's validating her younger self and being like, I've got you. You know, it's like she's
totally
holding younger Taylor's hand and they're running together or something.
Totally. It feels like she's aware that even though there are people who think that she needs to live up to their expectations, she knows that she doesn't need to, and that's super empowering.
It is.
And this chorus is really the beginning of her displaying her power.
Yes.
Like, I feel like the whole song leading up to this point has been just sort of discussing the, I guess, oppression that she's felt.
The chorus starts with, now I'm running with my dress unbuttoned. So you're right, it is kind of that shift. I'm running with my dress unbuttoned, screaming, but daddy, I love him.
Kind of makes it feel like it links back into Fearless era, almost like she is that teenager again. Like, she's seeking her parents' approval when that's not really something you need as an adult.
What's funny about it is I think she's trying to say that she feels like the world is her dad in a way. Like because she's famous and because the whole world watches every move, she still kind of feels like a teenager in that way because
absolutely she's
people are so hypercritical of her in a way that you only really feel when you're a teenager and you have someone over your shoulder watching your every move. When you're an adult, you get to do what you want without a lot of people being like, what the fuck are you doing, bitch?
You're right, and she still has that and probably will forever have that. And also tying it to your own moral standing and like whether or not they see you as a good person or not. Like, it's so much more than just, babe, you're making the wrong choice. It's like, we physically do not like you if you align yourself with this person.
Yeah, it's such an intense feeling. The only thing she can really compare it to is almost like this religious girl who's so restricted in her choice, in her freedom. It's like that parallel is one of the only things she felt like she could compare it to.
Totally, yes.
So interesting.
It's so funny because I think the freedom is kind of continued in those next lines. I'm having his baby. No, I'm not, but you should see your faces. Like, it's like she's actually gotten to a point where she can make fun of these people. It's like, you should see your faces when I make a decision that you don't like and that I don't care if you don't like it or not.
She's kind of like, I can fuck with you now.
Yeah, I can fuck with you. Yeah.
Which is like, is taking back that power as well. Like, this thought process is like, oh my God, people hate that I'm dating this person. Imagine if I told them I was having their baby. Lol, I'm not, but like, that's how much you guys care about this.
Yes, yes.
It's so cheeky.
It's so cheeky.
That. I love the cheek. I love the cheek. When this song first came out, there was so much talk around it being linked to like The Little Mermaid and all of these other books, films and songs and stuff, and I think it actually it was one of the reasons why I found it hard to understand this song on first listen. I feel like everyone reacted to it and took it really literally, and I was like not taking it literally.
There was a lot of like compilations made about like people's first reaction to the I'm having his baby lyric, and there was not even a moment that I thought she was being serious. But it seemed like some people did. And fair enough. Like, for all we know, she could announce a pregnancy in a song. But like, it was clear to me, even without fully grasping the concept of the song, that she wasn't being 100% serious.
That's what I thought as well.
I'm telling him to floor it through the fences. No, I'm not coming to my senses. I know he's crazy, but he's the one I want.
Yeah. I'm telling him to floor it through the fences is just giving like getaway car and escape.
It's like,
recklessly escaping. Like, I'm not coming to my senses.
Maybe I need to be with someone crazy so I can learn a lesson.
She's just like, this whole song is just like, let me live.
Let me live.
Let me be a woman and let me live.
That's actually, we could
just end it right down.
Yeah. Let me live. Let me live.
That line does make me think of when, on like the first time we saw Travis and Taylor together and he was driving in the convertible. I just feel like that was like such a...
That's so funny.
Out of character thing for her to do.
Yes.
And we were all like, oh my God, Taylor's driving without security and she's like in the...
she's not in one of her cars.
She can be seen and like... We were like, oh my God, no one hurt her. We were freaking out. We're like, where is Scott Swift? Is he okay?
Yeah.
Oh, that was
So
just
true.
so funny.
So true.
She's
That
like,
was quite out of character
I'm
for
doing
her.
what I want. I'm living my life.
I'm living my life.
Okay, this just got me thinking how that lyric, I'm telling him to floor it through the fences, kind of reminds me of Brand New Full Throttle from So High School, which is interesting.
Dutiful daughter, all my plans were laid. Tendrils tucked into a woven braid. Growing up precocious sometimes means not growing up at all. He was chaos, he was revelry. Bedroom eyes like a remedy. Soon enough, the elders had convened down at the city hall.
The way she's stringing these words together is like actually incredible.
So poetic.
They really are. This song is actually so poetic.
It is.
Dutiful daughter, all my plans were laid. Tendrils tucked into a woven braid. Growing up precocious sometimes means not growing up at all.
I do need someone to tell me what a tendril is.
I think it's just like bits of hair, like, you know,
hair?
tendril. It's like, you know, your little bits of hair very perfectly woven into a very perfect braid. Like everything has to be boxed and put together perfectly and like not a hair out of place. Ties in so well with how Taylor has described her past, feeling like she needed to be the good girl growing up, and particularly her early years in the industry, you know, not rocking the boat.
Reminds me of mine when she says, you made a rebel out of a careless man's careful daughter.
Yes, she's like this careful, dutiful daughter.
Yeah.
I'm not going to step on any toes.
Yeah.
I'm not going to step out of the box too much. Growing up precocious sometimes means not growing up at all.
Yeah, that kind of gives me like sometimes when you grow up too soon or you grow up very aware, you kind of get stuck.
To be precocious means for someone, typically a child, to exhibit or develop certain abilities or interests at an earlier age than usual. And it's interesting because she's kind of actually saying like, even though I grew up really quickly, it actually really held me back in a lot of ways because there are other lessons I didn't get to learn, which meant I didn't grow up at all.
When you grow up precocious, you're already kind of grown up, so you actually don't get the growing up phase.
You don't get the real growing up, like what it actually means to be a kid. And she's literally saying here, I think in the context of romantic relationships, which is the narrative of her whole career, is that since the day she actually started dating someone, she has been in the spotlight.
Yes.
She never got to have experiences in romantic relationships where there wasn't a
normal.
world weighing in. And that meant that there were lessons that she wasn't able to learn.
Oh, I love that. I love those
And
lyrics.
I think that ties in so well with the dutiful daughter. You know, if you were having to be super mature at a young age to appease your parents or the church or whatever, you don't get to be a kid.
No, you don't. And then in the chorus, she's free, uninhibited. The dress is unbuttoned.
And this is what's so important about these next lyrics is she's actually providing why she's attracted to this man. He's a complete juxtaposition to her.
Yes, he was chaos. He was revelry.
He is nothing like anything I've grown up with, which is so fascinating to me as somebody who
and you can feel
has been
that
repressed in a way.
in the lyrics. You can feel that energy shift. She's like, he was chaos. He was revelry.
Yeah, that's so fun and exciting and new and different and adventurous.
And I love the lyrics that follow that. Bedroom eyes like a remedy. That's actually one of my favorite lyrics in this entire song.
That's a good lyric.
The eyes that they have together in the bedroom is like a remedy for her.
How we can be together when we're intimate and we're close and it's just the two of us alone makes all of this other shit out here worth it.
Completely
like
go away.
you are the remedy to everything else I now have to deal with in the world outside. And then it's interesting because we sort of revert back to the world weighing in right at the end here. Soon enough, the elders had convened down at the city hall. So she's sort of like in this whole verse kind of telling the story of like, I was this good girl growing up. He was attractive to me because he was unlike anything that anyone would ever approve of and so different from what I've ever had before. And for a while, your bedroom eyes were a remedy, like it was enough. But then the noise started getting too loud again.
It actually kind of reminds me of Gilmore Girls, which I love if you guys know, and Taylor's a big fan of Gilmore Girls. When like Rory starts to date someone, it's like the whole
Everyone
town
knows about it.
has to approve. And like they literally discuss it at their meetings and stuff, or like they come over to their house and they're like, who's Rory dating, and is he good enough, and you know, like, and then like people will be like, if anything ever happens to her, like they'll like go to the boy and like say something like, and then she's like, oh my god, the whole town knows, like of course the whole town knows, and like I feel like that small kind of community energy
absolutely
feels like that's the, you know, that is the people that are judging Rory's relationship in that example. But for Taylor, it feels like the entire world is
that
at the city hall.
Everyone's in her business.
Everyone's in her business.
Yeah.
Stay away from her. The saboteurs protested too much. Lord knows the words we never heard. Just screeching tires of true love. And I'm running with my dress unbuttoned, screaming, but daddy, I love him.
Oh god, it's so good, isn't
so
it?
good.
Love this pre-chorus because she's actually saying so much without actually
is.
saying a lot at all. The elders who have convened down at the city hall are now saying, stay
away
away from
from
her.
her.
They're talking to this boy. You are not good enough.
Yep.
Go away.
Yep.
The saboteurs protested too much. So again, people are just protesting against this relationship that I want to be in.
Yeah. Saboteurs, is that like people that sabotage? She might
A
feel...
person who engages in sabotage.
Yeah, she might feel as though that did sabotage their relationship, or her maybe her relationship with Maddie Healy, like that hate was too much. Too much is a very interesting choice of words as well. She's like, it was
too
actually
much.
too much.
It was too much. Yeah.
They protested too much. Lord knows the words we never heard, just screeching tires of true love, kind of linking back to that getaway car in the chorus. We didn't even hear these words because we were just screeching away from it, which she goes on to say in the third verse or the bridge. Lord knows the words because he hears everything, but I don't hear it. I guess maybe that's the power of this song. Like, you're saying it to yourselves, but I'm not hearing it.
I'm not hearing it. Yeah, which is pathetic.
It's kind of pathetic.
And then the next chorus is exactly the same, which is perfect. We don't need any changes to the chorus in this song because she gives us so much else. But we get our first post-chorus, and that is the TST of the song.
Oh my god, is that what it is? I thought it was an add-on chorus.
It's a post-chorus.
It's a post-chorus.
Yes.
Oh my
She
god,
really adds a whole
this
bit.
might be the most superior part of the song.
No, it is though. It is though.
I'll tell you something right now. I'd rather burn my whole life down than listen to one more second of all this bitching and moaning. I'll tell you something about my good name. It's mine alone to disgrace. I don't cater to all these vipers dressed in empire clothing.
Oh my gosh, she went the fuck
No, it's such a drag
Tell
of
them,
everybody.
Taylor.
I love it. This is the most iconic thing she might have ever done in her whole entire life.
It might be actually.
This post-chorus.
Yeah.
You're kidding.
And the way that it builds to this, like,
Good,
I feel like we
yes.
needed it at this point in the song, of course, because that's where she's really letting loose. She's kind of told us everything that these people have done to her throughout
Yes.
this whole song. This is the first time she's really like, fuck you.
Yeah, she's really fighting back. Like, I feel like the chorus is the freedom,
Yeah.
but it's not necessarily biting
back, yeah.
or telling you, like, no, what
You're
you're
right.
doing is actually fucked up and wrong.
That's actually so true.
Yeah. I'll tell you something right now. I'd rather burn my whole life down than listen to one more second of all this bitching and moaning.
Bitching and moaning.
Oh my
Bitching
God, it's
and
perfect.
moaning.
No, but this was so satisfying as Swifties who we were like, we're not going to comment because what? Like, that's a fucked up thing to do.
Yeah.
To see her, people were mad that she said this.
Were they?
People, yes.
Oh my
because
god,
people,
how pathetic.
because people felt actually attacked
Well, maybe
by
they should
it.
listen.
This is what I mean. This is so ridiculous.
You
Like, people
are
felt embarrassed,
bitching
but
and moaning.
yes. Like, maybe you need to sit the fuck down. I'll tell you something about my good name. It's mine alone to disgrace.
Oh, the power.
Oh my god. It's so powerful because people have tried to tarnish her image and her name so many times over the years. And
Yeah.
she's just like, no, I'm the only one that can do that.
Yeah.
I know I'm a good person.
Yes.
And I know that if I was to ever make a bad choice, at least it was my choice.
It's so powerful for her to reference her name as well when she has become such a powerhouse. Even to the point where she's put like Taylor's version next to her re-record. Especially when we have Taylor Swift, the album coming, and then Reputation.
So true.
I love those two albums being tied together in that way. Like,
Yeah,
I
me
just think
too.
it's
It's
so
perfect.
special that those are the two left and that they have a really beautiful link in that way.
I don't cater to all these vipers dressed in empaths clothing.
That's
It's
interesting
such
that I
an
just was
attack.
talking about rep as well, because a viper
True.
is a snake, isn't it?
I think you're right, yeah. And I love that too, because again, it's kind of speaking specifically to these fans who were really cruel to her, because I think like it can't be to the haters, because the haters are just hating,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
But you're covering your cruelty with, I'm trying to deliver good advice to you. I'm empathetic of your situation because I love you. I'm a fan. I love your music. But you're not empathetic at all. You actually don't care. You just don't like that I've done something that doesn't align with you and your expectations of me.
Well, it's where that audacity comes in, really. It's like people
Yeah.
that are fans of Taylor think they then have a right to tell her how she lives is so unhinged. And I
not a
do
thing.
like the word viper because I feel like they have a very distinct image of like striking.
Yeah, totally. Like being very aggressive, very quickly kind of
but
thing.
like snapping back as well. So that's interesting as well, because it's like maybe they're dressed in empath's clothing, so they look like they're your friend, but then they do something or say something and it's really impactful and it hurts.
I think that this even ties really well into the lyrics that you brought up before, that she goes on to say in the bridge, almost kind of people being like keyboard warriors saying behind closed doors, like you'll say your piece and then you hide away again. No, I'm so sorry. It's got a post-chorus, it's got a bridge, it's got a verse 3, it's got a shift in the chorus at the end. Help. This song has everything. Of course it's an Ivy.
God save the most judgmental creeps who say they want what's best for me, sanctimoniously performing soliloquies I'll never see, thinking it can change the beat of my heart when he touches me and counteract the chemistry and undo the destiny.
Oh my god, the sounds.
The sounds are a lot, actually.
The sounds are a lot. I need to talk about them first because the way that it builds to that.
You're right.
Which
Which kind of ties into
such
this
church
religious thing as well.
energy.
Yeah.
I love the sound of this bridge.
So
This might be
true.
one of the best bridges she's ever written.
It actually might be. It actually might be.
I keep saying like each part is my new favorite.
Yeah, I know.
Like the
This is just one of those
post-chorus
songs, though.
and then the bridge is
Yeah.
just so good.
God save the most judgmental creeps who say they want what's best for me, sanctimoniously performing soliloquies I'll never see.
Fuck me. She just continues. Once she lets loose in that post-chorus,
She just called y'all creeps.
She just continues to
Judgmental
be
creeps.
so savage, and
Oh my
I
God, she does.
live
She
for
does.
the energy.
Absolutely, it's so good. Who say they want what's best for me. It ties in so well with like the vipers dressed
Yes.
in empath's clothing.
Yeah.
Like you're covering all of this complete bullshit up with like, you think you're doing me a favor.
Yeah.
You're trying to convince me and yourself that you're doing something good by speaking out against this, but you're not.
People want what they think is best for her, and in doing
know
so,
what's
they're
best for her.
invalidating her experience. And I think when you don't even
Yes.
know someone, it's just next level crazy. Like, I think when you're like best friends with someone and you have those opinions, it might be a little bit more valid for you to express those to your friend.
Absolutely.
But when you don't even know someone, it's really a lot to project what you want them to be doing. This next lyric is just so smart though.
It is, no, the way that she strung these words together, I actually can't. Sanctimoniously performing soliloquies I'll never see. That's just a lot.
It is a lot.
Definition of sanctimonious is making a show of being morally superior to other people.
Yes.
It's derogatory.
Yes.
Soliloquy. An act of speaking one's thoughts aloud when by oneself or regardless of any hearers.
Yeah.
So alone, essentially.
So she's literally saying...
A speech when you are alone.
You're giving speeches alone in your room. I won't hear them.
Yeah.
But they are filled with a moral compass that you think is higher or better than my own.
Yes.
So you're talking down to me in a way, but I won't actually hear them. But you think that they have so much importance. It's such a dig.
It's such a
in
dig.
the smartest way.
Oh my God. I've got to get on Twitter and I've got to say my piece because what I have to say is so important.
Taylor needs to hear it.
Stop being so self-important.
But that's the thing. It's not even about Taylor. It's probably about the own validation you're going to receive from other people when you put that opinion out there. Like, it's like using her as a pawn in a way.
It's not even about Taylor
Taylor's
at all.
just
It's
being
about
used
you.
in that process, which no wonder she's pissed off.
Yeah.
She's like, you all think you're so self-important.
Yeah.
When you're forming these opinions about my life, when I'm not even going to hear any of it.
These next lyrics are amazing too because she's essentially saying like nothing that you say is changing anything anyway. Thinking it can change the beat of my heart when he touches me and counteract the chemistry and undo the destiny.
I love these lyrics.
It's just so like it actually doesn't matter what you think. It doesn't even matter maybe what he has done. Like you love who you love. And those feelings are there regardless.
Yeah. And you know, it really reminds me of the alchemy, these lyrics. Like, these are just, it's chemistry. Who are we to fight the alchemy? I love how the production really builds on that part. Undo the destiny.
Yeah, totally.
You ain't gotta pray for me. You ain't gotta pray for me. Me and my wild boy and all of this wild joy. I love those lyrics. I love those lyrics. I love the wild aspect coming in because of the freedom that we're talking about.
Yeah.
And even if he's a bit crazy, and even if he's not exactly what you want him to be, this is how he makes me feel.
Absolutely, yeah. The You Ain't Gotta Pray For Me really reminds me of But Your Good Lord Doesn't Need to Lift a Finger.
There's a lot of parallels, actually.
There is, actually.
Yeah,
yes.
when I Can Fix Him in
yes,
this song.
there really, really is.
Yeah.
It's like, just don't. Like, I've got this. I'm going to do it without your help.
Yes.
Thank you so much. Don't pray for me. And obviously the praying as well and the God save the most judgmental creeps and stuff, it all ties back into this religious imagery as well. Like this church that she's left who are like praying for, you know, fucking God to save her from her sins or whatever. When it's like, babe, that's not a thing.
Yes. Also, just as a little side note, Taylor Swift did say that she loves Emily's wild joy in her letter.
Or our wild joy.
Oh, yeah, sorry, you're right.
In
She
our
said
videos.
but she said it in your letter.
Put an Easter egg for this song in a personal letter to me and us.
Yes. I love that she wrote wild joy in that. I wonder if it was just on her mind. You do embody wild joy.
Thank you so much.
We do embody wild joy.
Yes, I love that she feels that when she's watched our reactions before, that it's wild joy because it is.
That's very special.
Thanks, Taylor.
If all you want is grey for me, then it's just white noise and it's just my choice.
I love that. The grey and the
white noise
being like linked together, like these two kind of colours, which is also kind of the colour scheme of the album in general.
Yeah.
But like, if all you want is grey for me, is like her saying like, if you want me to lead this dull life that's playing by your rules, like I'm not going to do that. I want a colourful life. So what you want for me will become white noise. I'm not going to listen to it. I'm drowning it out.
So clever.
Amazing.
To link that progression, but for it to be a similar color is amazing.
Amazing.
It's actually one of the most underrated lyrics. It
really is. It's
all
so
you
clever.
want is grey for me, then it's just white noise,
and it's
my choice, taking back that power. It also kind of reminds me of Guilty as Sin. What if this long-suffering propriety is all they want for me? Like, you know, like staying in that relationship as well was like the grey instead of just like coming out of it and doing something chaotic.
And there's obviously heavy religious themes in that specific bridge and through this album as well.
Even that sonic hymn sound as well is kind of in Guilty as Sin and this part of the bridge as well.
That's so true. Yes.
There's a lot of people in town that I bestow upon my fakest smiles. Scandal does funny things to pride, but brings lovers closer. We came back when the heat died down. Went to my parents and they came around. All the wine moms are still holding out, but fuck 'em, it's over.
It's actually so interesting because in a way it's kind of like she's saying that she's sort of reintegrating with her family, or like there's some acceptance sort of coming back into her life from an external perspective, which is interesting.
There's a lot of people in town that I bestow upon my fakest smiles. It's like, she's like, I remember that you were against this.
Yes.
And so I'm just gonna fake smile at you.
Yeah. I don't give a fuck about your opinion anymore.
I'm happy now.
Yeah. You're a piece of shit.
Yeah.
And I will never forget what you said to me, what you did to me. No. Scandal does funny things to pride, but brings lovers closer.
That is a really interesting lyric.
It really is. Because I guess what she's saying is like, it can really hurt your ego.
Yeah.
But when it's regarding a relationship, when you're both kind of feeling that pressure or that scrutiny together, it is only going to make you closer. Like it kind of brings you together because you're both experiencing it together. You're both the only people that can understand what it feels like to be on the receiving end of that specific criticism.
From what I can see from fans about who this song is about, there's a lot of mixed opinions, and like you said, it doesn't really matter because it's just overall applies to her fighting back to her choices, who she wants to date in general. But I think a lot of people seem to think that maybe the song, the first part of the song is about Maddie Healy, and then this is where it kind of shifts to Travis. And I've always thought it's a bit interesting to kind of shift to a different relationship halfway through the song. But I do find this verse quite interesting because that particular lyric, like scandal does funny things to pride but brings lovers closer, obviously that wasn't the case for her and Maddie. I mean, maybe it was for a few weeks, but it would be interesting if she felt solid in that choice because they did break up so quickly. I wonder if this lyric is kind of nodding to that difference between Maddie and Travis, and how when things got a bit heated with Travis, it did actually bring them closer, and she felt that difference, and then she felt really secure in that in a way.
There's nothing in this song that actually indicates that we've shifted person. Like specifically in this lyric, she's saying we came back when the heat died down. Like sort of like this is a coming back after like he floored it through the fences.
Away,
you know, we've driven away and now we've come back when the heat died down. Like this is a continuation of the same story. So it doesn't make sense to me that there's an obvious shift in the relationship. But I totally see how like some of these lyrics towards the end of the song really fit the Travis narrative. But in terms of there being some sort of an intentional shift from her perspective in this song from one relationship to the next, that's not clear to me. I think that it so easily could just be how she envisions the fairy tale ending in a way, you know, like there doesn't have to be anything that's really truly rooted in like, oh my God, everyone loves him and everyone's changed their minds and all of that. It's like
it's more
when you think about something that feels romantic, it's like these lovers that everyone's telling you can't be together, and then all of a sudden everyone accepts it and everything's fine and it all works out in the end. Like that's such a perfect like rom-com narrative, and I think that that's what she's trying to tap into in the writing of this song.
Just like what she did with Love Story, I guess.
Yes.
Like it's like, okay, I simply need to give you a post-editing update. Sometimes I really need to do this because I fathom so much while I'm editing, and me and Emma have been talking about it, and my opinion has slightly changed. I think that I'm feeling more like this is actually a Travis song, but it's coming off the back of her experience with Maddie Healy, so that's affecting how she feels moving into this new relationship a lot. So it's still got kind of the elements of both feelings of both relationships in here, and she's very mad at the public for how that situation was treated, but it is about kind of stepping into this new relationship that she is actually excited about it ending well and it being a happy ending, and not turning out like how it did with Maddie. I also think we can't ignore her mashing it up with So High School on the Eras tour was kind of nodding to that. And, you know, Wild Joy and Wild Boy and Revelry, all of those things just scream Travis to me. Also, Genius is saying that like, fuck 'em, it's over, is like the relationship with Maddie Healy because she's now with Travis. Interesting. The fuck 'em refers to how Taylor doesn't care about their opinions. It's over refers to how her relationship with Maddie is over now, so the wine mums should just let that go.
Dancing in my dress in the sun, and even my daddy
with the script is just so typical Taylor, and it really just makes her songs so interesting
Yeah,
because
it
the progression of the storytelling is just so deeply concerning.
Yeah.
Instead of running with her dress unbuttoned, she's now dancing in her dress in the sun.
Which I love, because the running in the dress gives this idea of her running away from these people who didn't approve, and now she can just be who she is, where she's comfortable in the sun, the shining sun. And even my daddy just loves him. I don't need to try and convince him that it's enough to be with him anymore because I love him. He's come around.
I do think fits really well with the Travis narrative, because obviously people have embraced him in a very different way to the Maddie situation. And people do love him, and they've embraced him at the Eras tour. She's dancing in her dress at the Eras tour.
I think what's interesting though is that we did actually see Scott with Maddie Healy in the VIP tent at the Eras tour as well. So it's sort of like we know that there's been a connection there at some point.
But her dad loves Travis.
Oh my God, he changed football teams for Travis.
Football teams.
Yeah.
I will never forget when Taylor first did the Karma is the guy on the cheese, and Scott's reaction was better than Travis's reaction.
Totally. So
cute.
So true.
I also love the change to I'm his lady instead of I'm having his baby.
Yeah.
This switch and this chorus does feel more realistic. It feels like the truth, you know?
Yes.
I'm his lady. And oh my God, you should see your faces.
Interesting though, because the lyric about the faces could kind of have a double meaning here. It could be the people who disapprove are still like, oh my God, she's actually chosen to be with him. Like, and I don't like that. Like, or it could be you should see your faces because they've finally come around and you're happy about it.
Time. Doesn't it give some perspective? I love this lyric change.
Yeah.
She's literally like, bitches, you were all so G'd up.
Yeah.
And now you just needed a bit of time
Yeah.
to see the perspective.
Yeah, so true. And that also ties into the we came back when the heat died down. You know, like any kind of scandal has this real pinnacle moment where everyone's weighing in and everyone's got an opinion and everyone's talking about it. And then at some point that becomes old news and people don't care anymore and people mellow out and people are like, oh, I guess I don't really care that much.
Yeah. And no, you can't come to the wedding. I love that she's still setting that boundary there.
Yeah. Well, it kind of feels like it's tying in with the fact that it's like, I will never forget what you guys said. Like, why would I invite you to the wedding? There was a time when you disapproved of this.
Yeah, you can't just be all about it now.
Yeah, exactly. I'm not going to let you in like that.
Yeah.
But it also, I think, maybe even speaks to, no, I will never let you see what my wedding day looks like.
Yeah.
Like, just to her fans in general. Like, that is a private moment in my life if and when that happens to me one day. And that's not something I'm willing to share with the world because that's for me and us. And this post-chorus is interesting too because it's obviously quite different from the last one. And she actually pulls quite a few lines from the bridge. Right. She repeats the lines from the bridge, you ain't gotta pray for me, me and my wild boy and all this wild joy. And then she kind of repeats the end of the bridge as well. Actually, the whole thing is like a condensed bridge.
Yeah. The second post-chorus is actually not like the first post-chorus at all.
No, the only thing that's the same is the starting with the I'll tell you something right now.
And
she also does incorporate a lyric from the second verse. He was chaos, he was revelry. Like in the way that she kind of continues to sort of sing that as an ad-lib throughout the rest of the song, which we haven't even heard yet, is also wild. Like, how does she just pull a random line from the second verse and made it like the whole outro thing?
It's so random, but it's so perfect because, like I said when we were talking about the bridge and that like humming that comes in that gap there between me and my wild boy and all this wild joy and if all you want is grey for me, that's where she's put that lyric.
Yes.
So in the bridge it's just blank and then in the post-chorus it's he was chaos, and it was like in the background. It's like yelling over there. It's like this memory. Yeah. Oh, it's so good.
It is. It's so good. And it's the memory of why she first fell in love with him, which makes it that much more romantic for her to continue repeating.
It's like nostalgic.
Yes. It's like, this is why I love him. He's chaos. He's revelry.
Yes. She always does this with her best bridges. She's like, it's not enough. Once it's not enough,
true.
You need it again. And this way, it's a slightly different version, which is honestly probably my favorite way a bridge can be repeated. It's kind of giving August.
Yeah, it's a bit different this time,
August
but it's still similar.
Concerning song. This is like an August Ivy. This is an August Ivy.
It is. It actually is. Yeah.
Oh my God, it's so superior.
Scream, but daddy, I love him.
He was chaos. He was revelry.
Actually, it has a lot of sonic structures like August, even the way that it pulls back and then drops, and the having his baby, no I'm not, is giving August.
Yeah, it is.
And she does, remember when I pulled up and get in the car, cancel my plans?
You're right. That's fucked up. That's really fucked
No,
up.
they know that they did something with August.
They
are
really did.
They
did.
remembering its magic.
I'm so ill.
When the three of them get together, they
Oh.
are channeling August and Ivy,
Yeah.
and that's
Not okay.
everything we want them to keep doing.
Yes, absolutely.
Please keep doing that. So the outro is screaming, but daddy, I love him. So this is where she's kind of repeating
Bits of the
normal
chorus.
The
Yes.
first chorus.
Yeah.
I'm having his baby. No, I'm not, but you should see your faces. Oh my god, you should see your faces. Is that the first time she repeats it like that?
Yep, it is.
That's kind of funny.
Yeah. Because I guess the bit that's different is when she says, but you should see your faces. Because the oh my god is actually in every chorus before
But then
as
she's
well.
repeating it here. Oh
Yes.
my god, you should see your faces.
Yeah.
Oh my god, I love that.
Yeah, it's actually really offensive.
But you should see your faces. How?
Don't ask me. Don't ask me
It's
how
the
she did
little
that.
changes that
Yeah.
some people just like wouldn't even pick up on or notice.
Yeah.
That makes her songs so interesting. Like she didn't need. This is the thing about Taylor Swift, guys. She always does the most. She always does the most.
Yeah,
she
she
doesn't
does.
need to do it.
Yeah,
She's like,
that's true.
most people just would end the song at this point, you know? But she
keeps going.
She keeps going. She gives
She
you
gives
the
you the
most. She
most.
gives you the
Yeah.
She squeezes the most out of her creative juices.
She does. She actually does.
For every single song and
Yeah.
and elevates it and makes it so deeply superior that you think you've had enough, and by the end you get this little shift in the melody. You get this little change.
Yeah.
Thank you for
It's actually
the dopamine.
Yeah, the dopamine. That is exactly what it is. It's so offensive. This song is so offensive. Oh my god, I'm so glad she gave it to us. I'm so glad that she called us out.
Yeah.
Sis deserves to have a space to speak her mind
Yeah.
and to stand up for herself.
I agree.
And you've got to respect her. And if you don't, that's a you problem. I'm so sorry.
Does anyone
Does
else
it get any better than
think
this?
of high school every time like it's finishing
Yeah.
up? Because
It's a high.
I mean, maybe you guys feel really passionately about who this song's about and about it transitioning, but we feel like it's not that important at the end of the day.
No, because it's not about the relationship. It's about her.
It's about how she gets treated in
Yes.
the face of the media and
Yeah.
her fans when she's
Yeah.
just trying to live her life and be a girl who dates and
life.
let a woman live.
Let a woman
Let
live.
a woman live.
Let
That's all
her
it comes
live.
back to.
Let me live. We are so close to the end of these breakdowns, so
Yeah.
it's probably not difficult to guess what's next, but you can still just wait and see. We love you, and we will see you soon for another video.
Bye.
Bye.